If you'd asked my family, they would have told you I was the soft one, the one who couldn't hack it. I was standing in a courthouse hallway, watching my sister smile like she'd already won, when 15 years of being underestimated finally sharpened into a single, quiet point. My sister Lena was 7 years older than me, brilliant, polished, the kind of person who assumed she belonged at the center of every room she walked into. She sailed through law school and made partner before she turned 40. At every family dinner, my parents recited her achievements like scripture. And me? I was the cautionary tale, the daughter who dropped out after 1 year of college. My mother called it sensitivity. My father called it a waste. Lena called it destiny, wrapped up in that smile of hers. Not everyone can be a lawyer, she'd say. The world needs assistance, too. Nobody in my family ever actually asked what I'd been doing with my life, so I let them keep their version of the story. What they didn't know was that after I dropped out, I transferred schools, took night classes for years, sat for the bar exam in a different state, and passed on my first attempt. I went into legal ethics, fraud, misconduct, the rot hiding underneath expensive suits. It became my job to notice patterns other people missed. 3 years ago, a name showed up in one of my case files. Lena's. Padded billing hours. Dismissed the first time. Flagged again. Then a third complaint arrived, this one with emails, and a recorded call that made my mouth go completely dry. An investigation opened. It never closed. 6 months ago, our grandmother passed away and left her estate split evenly between us. Lena decided that equality was an insult. 2 weeks after the funeral, she filed a petition to rewrite the will, arguing I wasn't fit to manage my own inheritance unless she controlled it for me. Tuesday morning, the hearing began. Lena clearly expected me to fold. She had no idea what I'd brought with me. Court opened under fluorescent lights. The judge skimmed through the paperwork while Lena's legal team sat back, confident. They called a cousin who claimed our grandmother had been confused and forgetful over Christmas. My attorney needed exactly 5 minutes to get the truth out of him. Grandma hadn't even been at that Christmas dinner. She'd been home in bed with the flu. Next, a neighbor testified that my weekly visits to Grandma's house were unnatural, some kind of manipulation tactic. My attorney calmly got her to admit, on the record, that I'd been visiting every single week for 8 years, long before any will was ever rewritten. At the lunch recess, Lena cornered me in the hallway. "Just settle," she said, like we were strangers. "I'll be trustee. You'll get an allowance. It's honestly best for everyone." I kept my voice level. "Best for your clients, you mean?" Her eyes went sharp. "You don't understand real law, Claire. You never have." My attorney appeared right beside me. "We're due back in court." The afternoon session brought out Lena's financial expert, hired specifically to make my spending look reckless and irresponsible. My attorney let him finish his entire testimony, then asked exactly one question. Had I ever missed a payment? Defaulted on anything? Faced any negative financial action ever in my life? The man hesitated, then admitted no. The judge's eyes moved slowly toward Lena's table. "Is this really the case you want to build?" Lena's lead counsel scrambled and pivoted, producing a sworn affidavit from another cousin, one claiming I had personally told our grandmother that Lena didn't care about her and had pushed her into splitting the estate evenly out of spite. A lie, stamped and notarized. "Rebuttal witness, Your Honor," my attorney said. "I call Claire Weller." I took the oath and told the truth plainly. Weekly visits, books, gardening together, never once a word about the will. Then my attorney asked the question that changed the entire room. "Miss Weller, what is your occupation?" The courtroom went quiet. "I'm a senior ethics investigator for the State Attorney General's office," I said, "and I sit on the State Bar Disciplinary Board." Lena's face went white. The judge leaned forward. "So you are an attorney?" "Yes, Your Honor." Her gavel came down once. "Continue." My attorney's voice stayed perfectly calm. Your Honor, in her professional capacity, has my client had any prior involvement with Miss Lena Weller regarding ethics matters? Lena shot to her feet. Objection! Irrelevant! The judge didn't even blink. Answer the question. Yes, I said. Lena Weller is currently the subject of an open investigation for billing inflation and conflicts of interest. My attorney held up a single sheet of paper. A limited disclosure authorization, signed by the disciplinary board chair this morning, Your Honor. Given that Miss Weller's competence has been directly attacked in this proceeding, the judge read it once, then looked directly at my sister. You asked this court to hand you control of your sister's inheritance while you are under active ethics investigation, and you submitted an affidavit that appears to have been fabricated. I can address that affidavit, I said, setting my phone on the table. I recorded my visits with our grandmother for 2 years, with her full consent. Every single one is indexed by date. There is no conversation on any of those recordings where I turn her against Lena. The only time money ever came up, she told me, on her own, that she wanted everything split evenly. My attorney handed over the index. The judge spot-checked 2 of the recordings herself. Dismissed. With prejudice, she said. Fees and costs to the petitioner. And I'm referring this affidavit directly to the state bar for review. When the courtroom finally emptied, my parents lingered nearby, looking lost. Lena reached for my sleeve. Claire, I didn't know. You didn't ask, I said, and you didn't lose today because I surprised you. You lost because you lied. Outside, the sun felt sharper than usual. My attorney touched my elbow and smiled, and for the first time in longer than I could remember, I felt something settle in my chest, something that felt a lot like peace. My phone buzzed a few minutes later, a text from the disciplinary board. Formal charges would be filed the next morning, expedited because of what happened in court that day. For the first time in 15 years, my sister's shadow wasn't hanging over me anymore. It was standing behind me.